Hi, my name is Lindsay Ryan. Thank you all for coming to my informative speech about caffeine. Before we get started, will you please introduce yourselves to the audience?
Wyatt.
Keisha.
Sarah.
Have you guys had your 1 cup of coffee for today?
I had 2.
You guys are alerted and awake? I had mine, that's for sure. Let's get started. Caffeine is the most widely used stimulant today. Caffeine comes from different sources like coffee beans, tea leaves, and cocoa pods. In many different products we use today, like in foods we eat and medication, caffeine can affect your heart, the bones in your body, and can make some conditions worse and some better. The first thing caffeine does, when you're drinking a beverage with caffeine in it, you become alert and awake. That is why most people today drink a cup of coffee every morning. If you consume too much caffeine, it can cause you to have a headache. It can also cause you to have nausea and an upset stomach. It can cause problems too if you do not digest the same amount of caffeine you intake every day. Caffeine can affect the stomach in many ways. It can make you use the restroom constantly because it's a diuretic. It can cause you to have heartburn and make your stomach upset. It causes your body to get rid of water. Caffeine can make your blood pressure rise and can cause your heart rate to beat faster. The second thing is caffeine can affect the bones in your body by reducing vitamin B in your system, which causes calcium loss for your bones. When you are pregnant, caffeine can cause your baby's heart rate to go up. It can also affect the growth of the growing child. If you're consuming caffeine regularly, you need to make sure to take it within the daily recommended amount. Caffeine can help with many kinds of conditions, like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, asthma, and type 2 diabetes. When using caffeine with someone who has ADHD, it can interact being so hyperactive and not being able to focus. How it helps asthma is because it can help to open the airway for the person to breathe. When you consume the daily recommended amount of caffeine, it can also contribute to preventing type 2 diabetes. The third thing caffeine can affect is anyone with an anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, and epilepsy. When consuming caffeine, when you have an anxiety disorder and or bipolar disorder, it can worsen the condition. When you have epilepsy, you can still consume caffeine, but it needs to be very little and monitored. When you're taking medications, you need to make sure your medications are not going to interact with how much caffeine you consume. One major drug that will cause bad side effects when taken with caffeine is epinephrine, because they both can cause your body to have an invigoration and cause problems with your heart. 2 other medications that will affect you when having caffeine are some antibiotics like quinolone, which is an antibiotic, and diphenhydramine. When you're taking quinolone antibiotics, it's harder for the caffeine to be broken down so the body can absorb it. When you consume caffeine when taking medications like Demerol, the caffeine obstructs the medication's effectiveness. Now, let's do something fun. What's your favorite beverages? Maya?
Tea.
Keisha?
Coke.
Sarah?
Coffee.
Okay. So I'm going to hand you out some caffeinated beverages. We have a 12-ounce cup of coffee for Maya. 12-ounce can of Coke for Keisha, and 12-ounce cup of unsweet tea for Sarah. Which one do you think has the most caffeine in them? Maya.
Soda.
Keisha.
I agree, soda.
Sarah.
The Coke.
Okay, so a 12-ounce can of Coke has 32 milligrams of caffeine in it. A 12-ounce of unsweet tea has 15 milligrams of caffeine in it. And the 12-ounce of Folgers ground coffee has house blend, has 60 to 80 milligrams of caffeine in it.
Oh my god.
That's a lot of caffeine, right?
Yeah.
That would make me bounce off the walls. Like, but I do actually drink probably that much every day. But, so, in conclusion, caffeine can cause many different reactions to your body depending on the amount you consume. When you have conditions of any kind, it is best to consult your doctor first. It's best to consult your doctor first about your caffeine intake and how it will affect your conditions. When consuming caffeine, Drink it within the recommended daily amount. Caffeine is great for the need to pick me up now and then. This concludes my informative speech about caffeine. Do any of you have any questions? Sarah?
How much is the daily recommended amount for someone who is pregnant to intake?
For a pregnant woman, it is 200 milligrams of caffeine per day.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions?
So she can have 4 cups of coffee a day.
I guess so, yeah. Because it says 200 milligrams. It's quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
But
lot.
it's actually-
Yeah, look at it that way.
And that is a lot. Okay. That concludes my presentation. I want to thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a good night.
Slow.